Hello and welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is a reading for Gemini. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. And if there's anything that you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there is the hardworking Prince of Discs, or Pentacles. That's a very interesting way to begin. And we also have the Ten of Cups. All right, let's see what we've got. A lot more earth energy here, some fire, some air. We're going to finish up the path of the Serpent here with our Dove and Serpent spread. A lot of major arcana going on right now. This is very nice. We've got the Ace of Swords. I think we're in for a bit of a treat here. We're going to use our Smith weight deck for the mystery card, and let's see what that one was. For the mystery card, however, we're just going to select one, and we're going to set it aside. We'll put the lizard on top. We're not going to look at that one until the very end of the reading, okay? And now I'm going to pick up the one that flew out of the deck, and wow, this happens to be the Lover's card. We have the Lover's card already on the path of the Serpent. So this is something really special. I have a feeling that this is like you have a certain ideal, right? And you're not accepting anything that doesn't live up to your standard, really, right? I think this is really a perfection of things. You know, it's kind of like only the best is going to be suitable for you. Right, you'll tolerate nothing less than the best. And we start with the Prince of Discs, Pentacles. This is a very hardworking energy. I think that you are, right now, the first thing I think of is that show that's on, I don't know if it's Hulu, it's called The Bear. It's about a restaurant. They're trying to reopen a restaurant. It's a very fast-paced show. And they will tolerate nothing but the absolute very best in their, in their dining room, in their kitchen, in their restaurant, in the food. I kind of get that vibe with you, but I don't think it's food. Okay, now it might be, but I don't think so. It could be hospitality of a different kind, though, maybe. But I feel like you're that type of person. Well, you don't want to tolerate anything less than perfection, right? And I think in whatever work you're doing, whatever industry you're in, whatever your projects are, I think getting as close to perfection as possible is kind of the name of the game. I think you kind of have to get pretty close in whatever it is that you're doing. Okay. There's this exactitude, I guess. I think that's a word. In your work, and you're striving for that. Okay, and it may be an unattainable perfection. It may be this Ten of Cups here. It may be this absolute 100% perfection, not a flaw on the thing. It's kind of impossible to do that in the real world, right? Even the most perfect diamond, you can still see, if you're a trained eye, you can still look and see some sort of something somewhere, right? There's never 100% perfection or purity in anything. But we can get very close, and I think you're trying to get very close in whatever work you're doing. I feel like you're the type of person who really won't stop until you've satisfied that need for perfection. And see, that's kind of the problem, because if we can never get to perfection, then we can never be satisfied, right? So I think it's a continual struggle for you to kind of know when to be happy with what you have, right? Know when, okay, this is as good, as perfect as I can get it. Because we see the double Lovers card, right? We see the Lovers and the Lovers. And interestingly, the first Lover's card is in the position of we don't want. This is the ideal. This is the perfection that we maybe get close to and then we reject it. Okay, because it's not quite good enough. And I wonder if that's something that's kind of a theme for you. You know, always looking for the absolute very best and really being satisfied with nothing less. Okay. In the recent past Hierophant energy, I think that this has been a recurring lesson for you. It's like the universe is trying to teach you when to be happy with what you've got, when to be satisfied with your accomplishments. You know, you could do the absolute very best. No one except maybe like one or two experts in the world will be able to see any flaw in what you're doing. But you will, and you will probably, because of the other cards we have on the Path of the Dove, you'll probably scrap the whole thing and start over. It has to be absolutely perfect. And that could border on a little bit of obsession. We do have this devil energy down here. Okay. So I think you're doing really extraordinary work, and you're really striving to be the absolute very best in whatever you're doing. Okay. This could be a work thing, it could be in your relationship, just in your spiritual work, right? In your kind of personal development or your professional development. But I think this is a lesson that the universe has been trying to show you maybe for a while now, you know, that we can only reach so close to that ideal, to that perfection, to this, you know, the Lover's cards here kind of represent that perfect union, the absolute perfect union, right? The ideal, the unobtainable, really. So the Lover's card is kind of about a choice, you know. Are we accepting the quality of our work, or are we rejecting what we've done and starting over, thinking that we can refine it, improve it, get a little bit closer to that perfection or that purity, right? That flawlessness. And I think this, again, is something that the universe has been trying to have a conversation with you over, okay? But for whatever reason, I feel like right now you're still in this mode where maybe now you're actually, maybe the Ten of Cups is here to say, look, you've reached the height of perfection, and this is the best it's ever going to get. And maybe this is here because you're recognizing this now, you know? Maybe we've got the Ten of Cups here to say this is as full, you can only fill a cup to a certain point before it starts overflowing, you know? This is as full as we can get it, right? This is the most perfect it will be. And maybe this is something that you're recognizing now. I think that you had someone in your life, because I see them above you and below you, with this air and earth energies. This might, you know, be the same type of energy, the same person in your life. I think there's somebody who has kind of drilled this into you, you know, this idea of perfection, this idea of not stopping until you reach just the absolute ideal, right? And this could be a family member, it could be, you know, anyone from history that you're kind of motivated by or inspired by. But these two cards kind of feel like a relative, not in your immediate family. Maybe it's an old boss or supervisor or manager or something that you had that you were kind of close with, you know, that really was almost like a mentor to you. We get a little bit of that vibe with the Hierophant, just kind of sharing a little bit of that energy. So I think it was something that was instilled in you, right? That you, now it's part of who you are. And I don't think that you're ever really satisfied, because, you know, in the immediate future, we've got the Queen of Wands. We have some of this water fire. It's, I think, a dissatisfaction. And then this fire energy, this motivation, this inspiration to kind of start again, right? Is that initiatory energy that I think is then kind of going back to the earth to to gather the raw materials again, and to begin over again. You know, it's like the sculptor or the painter who's never satisfied with the outcome of their work, so they trash the painting and they start over again and again and again. So I'm thinking that unless something kind of changes with this cycle, this is going to be a continuous thing for you. When is it perfect enough? Right? When is it perfect enough? Well, let's go to the path of the serpent now, because there's more major arcana over here. The first one, of course, is this devil energy. Now, I've got to also say with these lovers card that this is the patron energy for Gemini. Okay? I think this is something that pretty much every Gemini that I've encountered has a little bit of this, right? But I think you've got kind of twice as much right now, you know. Maybe just during this time of your life, maybe you're working on a very special project. Maybe this is a very important time. What you're working on now is, you know, maybe this is your great work. Maybe this is your life's work, and it needs to be absolutely perfect, right? I think it's bordering on obsession. This devil energy is very focused, hyper-focused, laser-focused, concentrated, right? This devil energy will continue to do whatever task you give to it, right? You set your mind on something, or it's not even your mind, it's just your energy, your kind of, you know, your goat energy. You give it a task, and it stays stuck on that task until something or someone tells it to stop, right? It just keeps going and going and going. It's like that bunny. So this is the energy that will climb the mountain. It doesn't matter what mountain is in front of it, it will just climb. You tell it to go, it's going to go, and it will not stop. Okay. So what we need is the discernment. We need the clarity of vision. We need this. Well, we need the Ace of Swords right here. This is the enlightenment. This is that moment, that realization where you say, this is perfect, you know. And it may not be, you know, you may not have to get your calipers out or whatever to check the measurements to make sure it's actually perfect. Your, you know, the jeweler's monocle or whatever to analyze what you're doing. But just the belief, just that realization that may come to you in kind of a flash of light. It may come over you just as like a warmth, you know, that just says it's done. It's done. And this is the only thing that's going to get this goat to kind of fall back, right? Just go graze, relax, get some water. So we're waiting for this energy to come in, you know. And I don't really know what is going to invoke this energy, because on the path of the dove, it seems like you're kind of locked into this pattern. It seems like it's something that was kind of ingrained in you or instilled in you by either family or, you know, through other managers or other examples, you know, that kind of trained you to be this way. Which is a good way to be, don't get me wrong, because what you're achieving, what you're creating is the best anyone has ever seen, right? But the problem is you're never satisfied with it, so you scrap it and then you start again, so no one actually ever gets to see it, you know? So we have to break this pattern here. We have to break this cycle, and you have to be, at some point, satisfied with what you've got, with what you've created, what you've built, okay? So that brings us to the double lover's energy. Double lover's energy. It's in the position of what you don't want. Maybe you don't want perfection. Maybe you really like the work. You like starting. You like gathering the materials with all this earth energy here. You like the feeling that you get as you're working, as you're inspired. It's enjoying the beginning half of the process, not so much the latter half. Right? So maybe we don't want to actually have our completed thing, whatever it is. We like the work, we like the struggle, we like the joy, we like getting our hands dirty, we like starting things, right? And when the time comes for you to kind of wrap up and you clean up your tools and you've got your finished product, that's kind of a somber moment, right? It's kind of a somber thing. So I feel like that's why we're rejecting the Lovers. We don't want to have that final union. We like the, we like the excitement of building this thing, of starting it, of working on it. We like the long days, the late nights, just toiling away in our laboratory or in our garage, in our workshop, in our studio, whatever it is. It's the work that we like, right? Not so much the results of the work. And again, that's a good way to be, right? Put the right stuff in front of you and you're going to just work miracles. You're going to be, the magic maker. But the only issue with this is that you end up scrapping it at the end and starting over, so nothing really is getting accomplished every time, right? And I'm not saying this is permanently how you are or how you've always been, but I think right now we're in this mode where we don't want to finish. We want to just keep working on it. We want to go back to the beginning and do it again, because that's the part of it that we like. Okay. So we also see the Justice or Adjustment card at the end of the path of the Serpent. And to me, this is, we see that in this card is also the Ace of Swords, right? It's being held right in there. So this is kind of taking our discernment, taking our enlightened mind, our enlightened thinking, our truth, taking what our initial will is. What is your goal? Why are you doing this work? What is the work that you're doing? And what is the result of it supposed to be? What is it for? Right? Taking all of that swords, air energy, and using that as the balance to weigh the quality of your product, whatever you're doing, right? And I don't know if it's a product. Maybe you are creating. Maybe you are a painter, a sculptor, a musician. Maybe it's talking about your spiritual accomplishments, some work stuff, career, anything. We are weighing the results of our work against a standard that is impossible to match. Okay? So what's your threshold of tolerance here? You got a few micrometers either way, right? So when we're weighing our work against the standard of ideal perfection, against this kind of lover's energy, what are we willing to tolerate? How much of a tolerance level do we have on either side? If we come in a little bit too light, a little bit too heavy, how much are we willing to accept? Right? No two objects at all, ever, I don't care how precise the machinery is, nothing is ever exactly perfect. Right? We look at all these tarot cards that I have, and they look like they're all pretty much perfect, same exact size and shape, but if we were to really get down and measure them, every one has their imperfections, especially after years of use. All of these cards are bent and, a little bit frayed. And but the point is, that is okay, because there is never a moment when all of these cards were exactly, even, the same deck of cards are never precisely. Maybe in casinos they have different standards where things have to be a little bit closer to perfect. But even then, there's a degree of tolerance, right? So that's what this Adjustment card is about, is figuring out what our degree of tolerance is, so that we can have this enlightened moment that says it is absolutely perfect the way it is right now. And maybe this reflects a little bit something deeper too. Maybe this striving for perfection has a little bit of a deeper roots than just the standard, that you're trying to achieve for the work that you do. Let's look at the mystery card. Thank you, Lizard, for helping us out. This might be, it's not going to be the Lover's card because we already have that card. But it could be any of these other major arcana energies. This could maybe be a 6 of something, right? I think I would love to see a 6 of discs. Or, maybe even, I think a 9 of cups would be nice here too, as the pursuit of that perfection, the pursuit of our happiness, that we know we can never reach absolute perfection or absolute complete happiness, but we continue to strive for it because it's in that we actually find joy and satisfaction. It's in the doing, right? Not in the resultant having, but in the doing. So let's see what we have. Well, we've got a 9, but it's a 9 of wands instead of a 9 of cups. So a 9 of wands, it's not too bad to have a little bit of fire energy in here, but to be honest with you, I think the fire energy is just reinforcing this, right? This idea of, accomplishing what we're doing, finishing our work, or getting to the end and then scrapping it and starting over, right? That's kind of some Queen of Wands energy right there, right? Well, what it's doing to you is it's strengthening you, sure, but it's also kind of beating you up a little bit, right? The Nine of Wands is a very strong card. And it's a very strong fire energy that can either burn you or it can really strengthen you. This is the fire that is kind of, underneath the furnace or within the furnace of the art or temperance card. So this could be used to really strengthen you, and in order to do that, we have to get to the bottom of this energy. The 9 is really a foundational card. It's a fire that is within you, and how is it going to affect you, right? Is it the fire of creation or of destruction? And to be the fire of creation, we have to understand why it is that we're pushing so hard for a certain level of perfection, right? What is it that's driving us, right? If we can understand that, then we can use this fire for real strength to accomplish unbelievable achievements in life. There's no limit to what you can do, right? Absolutely no limit. But if we don't understand the motivations behind all of this, then this will continue really to burn us, because we'll be dissatisfied with our work, we'll scrap it, and we'll start over. And that's not strength, though, really, right? That's us succumbing to the fire energy, being overwhelmed by it, and then getting back to the beginning stages that we actually enjoy and starting again. So there's a difference between how we're using this fire energy. And I think what I want to do now is consult the I Ching. So we've got 64 cards here, each with a hexagram of the I Ching that represent the ancient Chinese wisdom and their connection with spirit, with source. And I know this is not the traditional way to cast an I Ching hexagram, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. Maybe one day we can do a full video of us doing a traditional yarrow stalk method of casting a hexagram, but that day is not today. We're just going to use the cards. I want to see if there's any wisdom from the I Ching that can help us with this. We have 20. It's seeing. It says, washing hands and not making the offering. There is truth and confidence like a presence. Okay, this is earth below. And then we have the wind on top, right? So there's some words on the back. It says, to see is to witness everything that comes into view with open awareness. In the ritual, the everyday world is washed off, and then there's a pause for whatever comes like a presence into the space. Don't fall automatically into the next step of the process of life. See what is present before you respond. When you stop searching, what comes into view? If you had no preconceptions, what might you see? Okay. So it's interesting for one because we have to look, we have to see what is underneath all of this energy, right? We have to try to get to the bottom of it, right? To see what it is that is that's motivating us to continue this process, why it is that we're pushing this hard for this level of perfection. And now this is this hexagram is about that holy moment just before one would make the sacrifice or the offering, right? You've gotten all the work done, you've prepared everything, you're just about to do it, you're just about to flip the switch, and then you pause for a moment to look around, to see that everything's in its place, to see the beauty and the stillness of what you created before beginning, before before shipping it out, right? Before activating it, before turning on the machine, you pause and you admire what you've accomplished. Now it's in that moment that I think we either have this flash of enlightenment and we can see the beauty of what we've accomplished, the absolute perfection of it, maybe not in the technical micrometer way, but the overall, the spirit, the more meaningful perfection of what we've done. Or we decide to scrap it. We put everything back. We get rid of the sacrifice. We cover up the idols. We veil the altar, and we go back. We go back and we have to do the ablutions again and the rituals of cleansing, and we start over, right? We start back from the beginning of the process. So it's in that moment in between where we kind of decide what we're doing, And it's then, I think this is really profound wisdom. I think it's in that moment when you're just about to either be done and say, look at this, it's beautiful, or about to scrap it. That moment just before that decision is made. And look around, Anyway, let me know what you think of the I Ching. I think it really is a lot of sagely wisdom that we might need to meditate on to really fully understand, But I think it applies really well to what you've got going on in these cards. Now, if you want to watch the extended, just click up here. We're going to do 3 cards to see if any other energies want to come out. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And thank you for being the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot.